So with the market going down today, I was able to buy a few more shares of some of my high yield ETFs, and I also sold a put. So we'll go over all of those and find out what triggered those buys and why I sold that put. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today I did make a few trades. I actually bought some more shares of CONY and HOOY. As you can see, CONY is still red, and I come over here to HOOY and it's also still red. And I'll show you what triggered those buys for me. And then I also want to show you what I did on SPY, as I did sell another put. And we'll see if I get assigned those shares or not. So if you enjoy this type of content, it'd be much appreciated if you hit the like button, as it does help the channel out. So going into the high yield ETFs here, like I said, I did buy more of CONY and HOOY. So let's look at the stock charts and let's find out why I purchased those. And I also am down on ULTY, but did I buy any of ULTY? And I'll show you why I made my choices as I did. All right, so here we are on HOOY, and this is one that I did purchase. And as you can see, I've got the Bollinger Band on, and we are outside of that Bollinger Band, right? We did have a big drop today. So I did purchase 10 shares of HOOY at $43.49. And you can see it went as low as $43.16 before moving up just a little bit. But it is at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, and that RSI2, which is this yellow line at the bottom, it is currently at 3.95. So definitely under 10. So that triggered a buy for me, and I purchased 10 more shares at $43.49. So that's going to help to lower my real price per share, because I do like to buy these whenever they are at the bottom of that Bollinger Band and that RSI2 is under 10. That helps me to lower my real price per share and to try to stay up with the stock itself. And when we have these pullbacks, I like to take advantage of those. And we can go back to my spreadsheet here, and I'm going to use my calculator, and we're going to find out what that changes my real price per share on for HOOY. So we'll just do the drop down here. We'll come down to HOOY, and then what did I buy them at? I bought them at 43.49. How many shares did I buy? I bought 10 shares. Now, when I hit enter, it's going to give me how much that would cost, and it's also going to tell me what that new real price per share would be. Because if I scroll right over here, you can see my current real price per share is $47.44. So my new real price per share after the purchase of those 10 shares will be $47.05. So that brings it down just a little bit more. And the current price being $43.81. I am still under, of course, but I am bringing that real price per share down so that when HOOY moves back up, it's got less room to go before it crosses my real price per share. And next we have CONY. And as you can see, CONY, we are on the bottom half of that Bollinger Band, and that RSI2 is sitting at 9.6. So that is below 10. And since it is at the bottom half of that Bollinger Band, and actually at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, that helped me to decide to go ahead and purchase more shares, because I was waiting for it to come down and get closer to this bottom of the Bollinger Band when it was up here, right? And it did. We actually dropped down a good bit. So I picked up some shares here, and I picked up 25 shares at $38.19. So that's going to help to lower that real price per share as well. And if we slide over to my stock tracking sheet, we can find out what that changes my real price per share to. All right, here we are on the stock tracking sheet. And for this one, we used CONY. So let's just go ahead and we're going to replace this on the calculator with CONY. So I'm just going to delete out what we have here for the share price and the buy price and also the ETF that's being selected. And then we'll just do a new drop down here, select CONY. What was my buy price? And that was $38.19. And how many shares did I buy? I purchased 25 shares. Now, my current real price per share is $48.49, and the current market price being $38.22. I feel like the $38.19 is a pretty good purchase. So my new real price per share is now going to be $46.40. Now that's a nice little drop. That's about a 4% drop from my real price per share of $48.49. Now, yes, I am still down, right? Because the market price is $38.22. But I am working to keep lowering that real price per share so that whenever CONY and any of these that are red turns around, then I can stay green. It does take time, and nothing, of course, is guaranteed. And you can see on SMCY, we are currently still green on SMCY because I did purchase shares to help bring down that real price per share, and we are currently still green on SMCY. Now, it did come down to about $8.30, and my real price per share is $8.25, so we are very close to that current price. But that's okay. It will either trade sideways, and if it does come down, so be it, because I am lowering that real price per share instead of just buying and holding at whatever price I had it at. So I am being very surgical in my purchases. I only want to buy if it's going to lower my real price per share, and I only want to buy whenever that price drops to the bottom of that Bollinger Band and under that RSI 2, as that represents a short-term pullback, and I like to buy on the pullback. But you can see on CONY, we went from $48.49 now down to $46.40. A nice drop on that. So I'm taking advantage whenever we get these little pullbacks. I take the advantage because rather than just buying as it's coming down, I prefer to wait until it triggers my buy points, which would be toward the bottom of that Bollinger Band and that RSI 2 below 10, so that hopefully I'm getting a little bit more bang for my buck as far as in buying at this point, rather than buying here, and then buying here, right? Because the average of those three is going to be somewhere right in here versus just waiting until here. And now my buy price would be at the bottom of this candle, right? Versus if you had it at 3 purchases, then you take the average of that and you're going to have a higher average than just waiting until it gets to your buy point and then buy it. Sometimes you miss it, but other times, just like today, you get that opportunity, and that helps to drop that real price per share even more. So how about ULTY? Because as you can see here on my stock tracker sheet, ULTY is red. That means that if I do buy those shares, it will lower that real price per share, as my real price per share is $38.02 and the current price is $37.18. So why not buy some more of ULTY? Well, here we are on ULTY, and as you can see, this is the Bollinger Band, and we have just broke below the midpoint of that Bollinger Band, but then came back up and closed above it, right? Now, I like to buy when it's at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, at least on the bottom half, right? And I prefer that candle not to run through that midpoint. I would like for that candle to start and close on the bottom half of that Bollinger Band and hopefully close toward the bottom so that I can get a better buy price. But of course, I also want that RSI 2 to below 10. And as you can see, that RSI 2 currently is at 15.03. So definitely not under 10. So therefore, I did not make a purchase on ULTY today, as I will wait and be patient to see if it will come on down and possibly give me an opportunity to buy at a lower price, as that will help to lower that real price per share even more, so that whenever it pops back up into the top area of that Bollinger Band, I am now green. And when I get that distribution, then I lower my real price per share even further. And then the price of that stock, even if it's ranging through here, my new real price per share could be below it, right? So I'm always lowering it no matter what the price of that stock is doing. If it's fluctuating around, that's fine. I just continually to lower that real price per share. So I just continually to move away and further and further and further down on my real price per share versus the actual market price of that stock. And that's how I play these high yield ETFs to help put me into a better situation. At least I hope so, right? But I think you can see on my sheet here, even though we had that pullback, right? And it pulled a lot of the stocks and ETFs down today. But as you can see, I am still green on almost all of them. The only ones I'm red on are CONY, ULTY, HOOY, and those I've been red on. I did get SMCY green, and it is still green. And remember, my real price per share was above 830 for sure. And since I was able to bring it down, even though SMCY came down, I was able to still stay green because I have moved it down below the current market price. And then, of course, the last one that I am red on is DIVO. It did drop because the market had a big pullback today. But overall, it's still pretty close, right? And DIVO, I'm not too worried about it because it does normally want to go up and to the right of the stock chart. And since I just got into it, it's not uncommon for this one to fluctuate back and forth. So this one here, I'm not really too worried about it. It's sitting at 45.04 for the market price, and I'm at 45.30. So not a big deal for me. Because of the pullback, I expected to see a few of them being red. But in my mind, when you have the pullbacks, sooner or later, you're going to have the pop back ups, right? And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those to pop back up. And while it's down, I'm buying so that I can lower that real price per share so that when it does pop back up, it's got less area to move before it crosses my real price per share. And then all of a sudden I'm green. And then for each distribution, it just continually to lower that real price per share, even if that stock or ETF would trade sideways or even move down a little, right? I can continue to move this real price per share down so that I can create and increase that buffer between my adjusted price per share and that market price. So I know it's kind of hard to see it sometimes when you see these drops like this, like on CONY and HOOY. When you see these drops, it's very hard to buy. But I do wait until it hits my markers and then I do make my purchases. If it makes sense and if my spreadsheet tells me that it's going to benefit me to make that purchase. Now, the last one I wanted to point out was an option that I did, and that was on SPY. And as you can see, this is why the market dropped so much. I mean, look at this on SPY. I mean, we closed on Friday at 691.66, okay? And Monday was a holiday, but Tuesday opened up at 681.49. Whew, gracious. What a drop, right? I mean, at close today, we dropped $14 on SPY. What a crazy, crazy drop. So what did I do? Well, let's look at the 5-minute chart and let's start off right here from yesterday, okay? This is where I would draw my lines, right? So from yesterday, I draw the upper portion right there. But as you can see, there's the close of Friday. And then when it opened today after the holiday, you can see there it is way down here. And it opened and went as low as about 679. Whew, gracious. Oh my goodness, this thing just fell out, right? But I drew my line, right? There's my bottom line. So I draw my line of that previous low and of the previous high. And as you can see, when it opened today, it opened somewhere around about 681, okay? Now I have my low in here at 679, okay? So I was needing the candles to start moving down and break below this low from the previous trading day, okay? That's what I was looking for. And you can see it started moving up the first part of the day and then it started coming down. and then it's traded sideways. It hit a little bit of a floor right here, and then it started moving back up. And at that point, I saw this right here, and I thought, well, it's not going to do much today, so I'm just going to let it be, right? And lo and behold, at around 12 o'clock, this thing started falling, right? And it was just falling. And then it fell. And it got down to close to almost 2 o'clock today. So only 2 hours left in trading. And there it did. It did break below that line. So I went ahead and I put an order out there. And since that low I had that line at was 679, I decided to sell that put at 678. And you can see it right there on the chart, 678, okay? That's what I sold that put at. And I ended up putting that order in somewhere around here, and it started moving up, right? And I thought, well, I am probably going to miss this, but maybe it'll come up, retest this line, and then come down. Now, I was asking $1 at the very beginning, but at this point right here, it's after 2 o'clock. And I'm thinking only 2 hours left. I don't know if I'm going to get a whole dollar out of this. So I'm just going to change it, and I put it at about 80 cents per share, 100 shares, so that'd be $80 in my pocket. And I'm thinking $80 for 2 hours, that's not too bad, right? That's pretty good money for 2 hours. And it did exactly what I was wondering if it was going to do, right? It did come up, retest this line, and got rejected, right? And started coming down. And then at that point, it went through. My $80 went through. Now, had I kept it at the dollar, believe it or not, it would have actually executed, and I would have got that full dollar because it did come all the way down to about 677 area, and that $1 would have actually went through, and I could have had that $1 at that 678. But that's okay. You don't know what the future holds. You kind of make your choice and you stick with it. And that's what I did. So I got that $80 as that did fill, and I had that put at 678. And as that price just kept on coming down, I thought, well, all right, I'm going to get assigned at this 678, and hopefully tomorrow we have a very nice push back up, because I'm looking for this to pop right back up to where it was at last week, okay? That's what I'm kind of looking for. If this thing can pop back up the 690 area, that would be great. If I can get assigned at 678, what a massive move, okay? So I do have the 678 put, and it closed at 677.58. And I know what you're thinking. You got the shares, right? You got the shares at 678. Well, I might have, but I don't know yet, right? And this is the confusing part. Because it did close below 678, you would think I get put the shares, but not necessarily. I am obligated to buy those shares at 678 because it did close under that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I will get put those shares. And why would I not get put those shares? Well, if we zoom in here, even though it did close below that 678, if I take my 678 that I had my put sold at, and I subtract off that 80 cents that they did pay, then basically the break even for them on the other side of that option, it would be 677.20. Okay, and it closed at 677.58. So does that mean I get put those shares? And like I said, I won't know until the morning, as that's when my broker will update my account, and I'll see if I have those shares allotted to me in my account. Now, I hope I did get put those shares. Okay, I do. I really hope I did. I have a bad feeling, though, that I will not get put those shares, because it did start moving back up after hours, and it actually got to this candle here, which is about 678.33. So the other side of that option play is not necessarily going to want to sell me their shares for less than what they can get on the market, especially if they already had to pay the 80 cents, right? For it to make sense for them to assign them to me, it almost would have to be below 677.20. And that's just my thought, because I will not actually know until the morning. And now, once I check my app in the morning, if I have those shares for SPY, and that'd be 100 shares at 678, I will be looking for this one to hopefully move on up. I can sell that call if it can break above the high of today. And that high of today would be about 684.77. So I would look for this one to actually break above 685. And if it does, then I'll look to sell that call. And could you imagine having them at 678 and selling them for 685 or something along that lines? That's a $7 move. So that's $700 in price appreciation for one day. Oh, what a nice payday, right? What a nice payday. Now, I don't know if it'll actually get there. And plus, I don't even know if I actually will have the shares or not. But we'll find out in the morning. My fingers are crossed that I got put those shares. Even if it does drop tomorrow some, I'm okay with that. But if I did not get put those shares, then I will be drawing a new bottom line. So I'll move this red line here, and I'm going to move it right down to about 676.57 right there. And once I move it to that, that's going to be my new line in the sand. So come tomorrow, if I did not get put those shares and they are not in my account, I made the $80. I'm happy about it, but I'm looking to sell another put. If this here can stay down low, it drops below that 676, I'll be looking to sell a put at that point if I don't already have the shares. But if I do have the shares, I will be looking for the new high of today around this 685 area right here. And that will be the line that I'll move this one down to, and I'll put it about right there at that high. And that will be at the point once it does cross, that will be where I sell my call. So it all depends tomorrow morning if I have those shares or not, as that will depend on if I'm selling a call or if I'll be looking to sell another put. So I'm super excited. Can't wait until the morning to see if I have those shares or not. Either way, I'll be looking to make some more premium, but I do have to be patient and I have to wait on those candles. I cannot jump the gun, or if it does not get above this line or below that line, I cannot change my rules. I have to stick to my rules and be patient and wait for those candles to come to me, as that will help me and protect me from making stupid mistakes. But nothing guarantees me that I will win or lose, but this is how I am playing these day trades on SPY. So I'll give my Discord members an update in the morning if I have those shares or not, and what I'll be doing, if I'll be selling that call or if I'll be looking to sell a put, and I'll give them those levels as well, as these levels here could change overnight. So of course, on the stock tracker sheet, if you would like to get a copy of this sheet, come on over, join the Discord. We'd love to have you. You can get a copy of this sheet from the Discord. There's a link in the spreadsheets section. And I also tell all my Discord members when I buy these high yield ETFs, when I'm making my option trades, and what I'm buying for that day, just to let them know what's going on in my life. But get your copy of this spreadsheet, as that link to my Discord will be in the pinned comments and down in the description below. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button, as it would be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.